Hello! Once again, I'm here. This should be the third part of the episode now, assuming I've edited properly. Edited it. Yeah, I fixed the video properly. We were talking about the solutions to ghetto-level poverty. The first part of this episode was spent talking about microloans. The second part of this episode was spent talking about beautifying the neighborhood. This part of the episode will be about how cops need to change in the local area. If you're not aware, in high urban areas, specifically New York City, there is a program for cops that tracks what they do, and it's been used not as a tool, but as a statistic for politicians. Which is single-handedly one of the worst things you can ever do. Because once it becomes a statistic that politicians use, it's no longer being used as a tool, and more as a, hand of force. And that's not okay. First things first, that can't be used for that. It has led to cops not calling in crimes. It had led to cops over-persecuting in the past. It had led to cops doing, massive, ticket handouts? Ticket quotas? And that's not okay. True, I believe that cops need to be surveyed, have surveillance on them, but not to the degree of, enforcing their will upon the people. That's not their goal. And I believe that's not what a lot of cops in there are for. I might be here for a while. Cops need to not try to persecute people for the sake of persecuting, or conversely, not persecuting. I don't think persecuting is actually the right word. I understand that, but I'm in the car and trying to multitask, and it's really hard to think of the proper word. So please excuse me on that. And arresting is not even the right word either. Anyhow, yes, so first things first, they need to stop doing that. I'm not sure what the best solution to that would be, but by and large, it should be pretty doable with federal government intervention or state government intervention. Either one should be able to put a stop to that. The second part of what cops need to change is their image. I believe that the cops should probably, instead of going on patrol in these ghetto level areas, in a car, well, correction, they can keep their car and whatnot, but I believe that they should just outright park somewhere and just stand around and chill, even hand out free coffees or something like that. The whole point is that the community starts to see the cops not as a watchdog, but oh, hey, that guy's here, let's go talk to him, he seems cool. That's the goal here. That is the goal. And primarily, I want it in two parts of the day. First, early in the morning, and second, right when school is ending. And for a few hours after that. Largely so that kids feel safe and kids get used to them. True, adults should too, but there's no real good reason to have cops standing out there and not doing a regular patrol if everyone's at work. So they should only be out there having a physical and visual presence when people are out there too. And the first part of this is to change their image, and second is so that the people, adults, children can play on the streets and know that they won't get fucking mugged. that there won't be fights because a cop is standing there. True, at first they'll probably feel a lot of pressure, but I believe after a few months or so, the people will start to come around. In my opinion, people in poverty, or at the very least poor, are very quick to adapt to environmental changes in their neighborhood. And I believe it wouldn't take very long for them to, at least the children, to very quickly change their view of cops if they were to do something like this. Heck, cops could just hand out balloons. I don't really care what they do. The whole goal here is that they aren't seen as like a menace. And if that changes with the children, then it will change with the adults too. At the very least, it will with the next generation. Third, I believe the cops need to make it clear to the children why they should not join a gang or do bad things. I think it would be morally wrong, but still good to go about saying, like, did you have a father growing up? Or did you have a mother that wasn't there? If you join a gang, if you do bad things, your kids will be the same way. Don't be that way. Like, be better than them. Be a father, be a mother for your kids. Be there for them. If you hated growing up, make it so your kids will love you and they will like growing up. That is the kind of message I want the cops to be able to deliver to the children. Because to me, you don't start with adults. Starting with adults to solve a social issue is stupid. You start with the children, who will then nag the adults into changing. It's a pretty simple method if you ask me. Mostly because children are really easy to like brainwash and change their opinions about things. The only problem here is that you have multiple generations to get over to make this change. Like, it's almost gotten to the point where like they're instinctually afraid of cops. That's not okay. True, even I'm that way, and I didn't grow up like that. But I still appreciate them. I know that they're doing their job. And I believe that the children need to feel the same way. It's hard for me to really talk about this and be presumptuous of what's going on, since I don't live there. I haven't experienced it. So I'm just going off of like secondhand, third-hand information and trying to come up with a solution. I understand that. But I believe any solution is better than what's going on now. At least as long as that solution doesn't make the situation worse. With that in mind, those are my solutions to ghetto level poverty. Increase school functions such that children can stay there almost all night. Maybe even all night, and just go to school the following day while at school. Have small business loans to help increase the local community in both terms of wealth and items, security, really anything. Largely wealth. The third thing, which was microloans and helping people of all levels be able to very confidently be able to take out a loan to pay for something that's rather small and not be afraid of getting into a debt cycle. The fourth thing of beautifying the neighborhood and having the people appreciate where they live. The fifth thing of having the cops change and having the people feel like the government actually cares about them. Or maybe even not to that level, and just like the government doesn't resent them. Those are my 5 things to solving ghetto level poverty. Would it take a lot of money to do these things? Yes. Do I think it would pay itself off? Yes. Do I think the initial cost is something that's really doable? Mind you, for just a small community, doing all these things should cost upwards into $10 billion. maybe even 20. Because that's a lot of resources, a lot of management. And I'm trying to highball it, but I might still be low. It might cost as much as $50 billion to just fix up one small ghetto community. I understand that. But I firmly believe that in the long run, it will pay for itself. Both in terms of costs on the local community, the rise in wages, because the two of those things will help increase the amount of taxes that can be collected. And with less people going to prison would mean smaller costs on the government. And so I think it would firmly pay for itself. The only problem is it will probably take 2 generations to do so. And that's probably how long it would take for the whole problem to be fixed. And even then, that's not guaranteed. This whole project might just go up in smoke. I understand that. But I believe if it works, if it were to work just once, you could probably firmly change the way inner cities work for the rest of the country. Because after all, not all these things need to be put in place all at once. They could be split up. It could be procedural. The only issue is it must be balanced. Like, you could switch to microloans instead of payday loans, but if you don't balance that out with, like, local spending, well, that money's very quickly going to just leave the community. So then you need to also do the small business loans to help them, like, compete with large businesses. So it's a really hard conundrum to fix. Like, you shouldn't really do the whole cop thing if you aren't helping out at the schools. The whole beautifying the neighborhood thing, that would work really well in tandem to the cops, mostly because, largely so that the cops can also, like, ensure that the utility work is getting done. But yeah, it'd be a struggle to put in place, and it's incredibly idealistic. But those are my solutions. Whether it ever gets done, meh. If it stays the same, so be it. No one would really notice the change anyways. It's a very small amount of people that would be affected for quite a large cost. But the fact that the change is possible, that's what matters. That I am at school, and next episode, I think I will start trying... Oh, it's a squirrel. Right in front of my car. Next episode, I think I will try talking about how I would like to change the government's debt issue, because it's a big one. Yeah. $20 trillion. That's a problem. So, try to talk about how I would like to pay for some of my spending things. Help decrease costs on the government and the like. I think that'll be the plans for the next episode. With that, I've got to get going. Please leave a like and a comment. Please subscribe if you haven't already. All those things help more than you know. And with that, I'm going to get going. Have a good day, won't you? Bye-bye.